Claus the black man. Santa Claus the black man and his handsome like my daddy too. Santa Claus the black man. Santa Claus the black man, and I found out that's why I'm telling you.
Alrighty guys, so for today's video, I am so excited to do my first declutter in my declutter series. If you guys are familiar with my channel, typically this first declutter is exclusively foundations, concealers, powders, primers, and setting sprays. This year I decided to go ahead and throw in mascaras and all of my brow products as well. You can see this is quite a lot of product in this bin. This is a lot compared to what I usually keep in these categories. So I really want to narrow this down to what I actually will enjoy. When it comes to the type of base routine that I like to ultimately kind of conclude with, I usually like to have a skin like or even a satin type finish. I do have combination oily skin. I am oily in my T-zone and I am normal in the perimeter. I am currently 30, turning 31 at the end of this year. I think that's about all of the kind of general things that I like to have for like base wise. If there's anything else when I get to the respective category, I will go ahead and kind of specify that particular necessity for that category. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and start as I normally do, which is with primers. Get all of the primers out of this bin and just have them on the table so we can really narrow down my collection. I will say that in this bin, I have all of my products in these categories. So even some that have not currently been reviewed on my channel, but I hope prior to this video going up, all of my opinions on all of these products have been finalized for you guys, even though they're finalized for me. So hopefully that makes sense. So if in any case I haven't actually talked about any of these products, I do apologize. You know, it just give me a little bit of grace. The video should be coming up before the end of this calendar year. So with that said, let me just go ahead and organize this hoard and we'll start with the primers. Alrighty, so these are all of my primers. I have two different baskets here on the screen. So this one is going to be for keep items, and this one is going to be for giveaway or declutter or throwaway items, just depending on how old the product has been in my collection. We're just going to go ahead and start off. I'll try to do every other until there's like not any other kind of option to just do one of each kind of category. So first things first is the Hemish Artless Glow Base. This is currently in my project pan and it will continue to be so until the end of this calendar year. And it's my favorite. That's why I put it in there. So this is definitely going to be a keep. I unfortunately won't have finished it by the time the end of this calendar year, but I still very much appreciate this. As for the Auric Glow Lust, I've enjoyed this product for exactly what it is, especially this year after I put it in the project pan that I had it in. That said, this is extremely old. I believe this, along with potentially another product, dealt with why I was having so many breakouts towards the end of this year. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter this and literally throw it in the trash. It's that old. Another keep is going to be this beauty from Range Beauty. This is their True Intentions Bronzing Primer. I absolutely love this primer. I kind of fell in love with it immediately, and it very much reminds me of the Hemish primer, except for it has a kind of subtle bronzy glow. So this is definitely going to be a keep. I cannot wait to get my use out of that and potentially in the future repurchase it. Another declutter is going to be this One Size Secure the Sweat Till Dawn primer. I completely understand why so many people love this product, but this I feel dries out my face too much for me. It's just too mattifying. It's not a favorite of mine. I've tried it out enough to review it, and then I've never even thought or wished to use it. And at this point, it's just time for it to go to a friend or somebody else who really needs that mattification with their makeup, or even if there's somebody who just wants something more mattifying throughout everyday life and they are comfortable using this as kind of like a secondary moisturizer after their moisturizer or whatever. I'm just gonna want to go ahead and give this to them. Another easy keep is this e.l.f. Power Grip Primer. This is more sticky than the Milk Makeup Gripping Primer, but I still enjoy it nonetheless. And yeah, it's a good primer. I definitely think it's great for the price and just overall great. So yeah, definitely something for me. I will say though, I don't prefer this over the Milk. I actually prefer the Milk. So there is that, but it doesn't affect like my overall finish, which like I said, I do prefer a more satin base at the end of the day, once I finished my base routine. So these are two primers that I've kind of left here, and I really must say I don't know how I feel. I don't know what I want to do when it comes to both of these. So for the Juvia's Place, this is a very similar product to the Auric Glow Lust. And if history is dictates, you know, how consistently I use these products, I don't. I will say I do prefer this product because there is a doe foot here. And I will say after finding an actual use out of this product, when I was using, or this type of product when I was using the Auric, I have a feeling I might be able to get some decent use out of this specifically for going to work, even if it's just to have like a nice little layer there. So I think I'm going to go ahead and keep this. I think I'm going to keep this, and it's okay. It is okay. Yeah. As for the Milk, this is the Milk Hydro Grip Glow Primer. I don't feel as though this is significant enough to really warrant the new product. I don't. I find that it is very similar to the Milk Hydro Grip, but the bronzy effect to me is just not necessary. It's just not necessary. I would go back to the original primer for me personally. I don't find that it really does anything extravagant. So that's 5 primers. I still feel like that's a lot. That is a lot. I'm trying to think. I think I'm going to go ahead and just get rid of this Juvia's Place one. I really just, I don't need it. I don't need it. No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to keep it. This is the final tally. So I'm going to keep 5 primers and I'm getting rid of these 2 primers. Alrighty, so I of course found yet another primer that was kind of buried. It would not be a declutter for me if I did not forget something in one of the categories. This is the Danessa Myricks Blur. What is it called? It's called the Yummy Skin Universal Primer, or kind of, this is the universal shade. Long story short, this once again, I feel like it gives me way too much mattification. So this is going to go ahead and be a declutter as well. If any of my friends wants it, they can have it. Otherwise, this will be a throwaway. Alrighty, so quite a lot of foundations. I almost never have this many foundations lately, but this year I kind of went a little ham. So we're going to do the same kind of back and forth between foundations I know I'm going to be keeping and foundations I know I'm going to be getting rid of. Let's go ahead and start as we did last time with my Project Pan foundation. And this is the Merit foundation stick. I have this in the shade Sepia, and this is a stick that I don't have much product left, so I want to go ahead and keep this and finish her up. It's actually a really good foundation. It gives me a skin-like finish, medium coverage. Really like it. It's a great foundation match for me. If you are a shade twin to me, I would highly recommend that shade. A foundation that I tried to keep, and I'm just over it at this point, is the By Mario Surreal Skin Foundation in, oh wait, this is the good shade. This is 24 in. This is the good shade. It was 25, right? Let me make sure. It's been a while since I've touched this. Okay, sorry about that. So this was actually this is the good shade. So we're gonna skip that for now. And we're gonna go to the Sigma Skin Perfector Hydro Tint. I have this in the shade 5, and this is just not for me. It's not for me at all. It's way too light of a coverage. If I'm gonna do something this light, I'm gonna just go ahead and reach for that Juvia's Place primer that I just talked about. Otherwise, I'm just going to do concealer and just call it a day. So this has got to go. There are a couple of these foundations that are quite old, so I'm going to keep going with the new ones and just see kind of what I actually need to keep and what I don't need to keep. Another favorite out of all of these is this House Labs foundation. This is in the shade 480 medium deep neutral. This is definitely a favorite. I absolutely love this product. I need to get some more use out of it. I just have been focusing on some older foundations, and that's why I haven't reached for it this year, but it's an absolute love. I would highly recommend that product. And a lot of these foundations I actually have reviews, so in case you are interested, I would just check out my channel for a potential review. Here comes the hard part, right? Because there's not anything that I kind of want to get rid of, but I do need to really narrow down this list. So this is a product from Hemish. This is their BB cream. It's actually quite good, but if I'm comparing it to the Yensa, I actually prefer the Yensa to this BB cream. So we've got to just go ahead and make some tough decisions. So the Hemish is going, and I'm going to go ahead and keep the Yensa. Alrighty, continuing on with some hard decisions. Whoa. Let's talk about some older foundations. So this is the Pat McGrath Skin Fetish Sublime Perfecting Foundation. This is quite old. I've had this for a couple of years now, and this is full coverage, absolutely full coverage. I have this in the shade Deep 30. This is a product that I actually really did enjoy, but because it is full coverage, I did not find myself reaching for it or gravitating towards it. And so because of that, I'm going to stop just holding on to it, and I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. I know, blasphemy, but I've really got to narrow down this list. And if I'm not reaching for it or wanting to reach for it, it's got to go. This is the Seal Tint and Perfect 24 or 20 SPF 50, and this is in the shade 10 medium rich. This is a favorite of mine. I absolutely love this. This has that like skin-like finish, that medium to buildable coverage. I would say more light to medium than anything. This was a favorite from last year. Absolutely going to go ahead and keep that. Another really good foundation. Please do not get me wrong. This is a good foundation, but this is once again high coverage, and I'm not reaching for it. I'm not thinking about reaching for it. So we got to narrow this down. This is the KVD Good Apple foundation in Tan 078. Really good, absolutely flawless product. But once again, this is pretty high coverage, and I really don't reach for high coverage products. So this has got to go. Alrighty. So we've narrowed it down. The e.l.f. Soft Glam Satin Foundation, and I have this in the shade Deep 53 Deep Neutral. This is actually a really nice foundation. I absolutely love it. This is a newer foundation to my collection this year. I would say this gives you about medium to buildable coverage. It does give that like satin finish, which is definitely a preferred finish for me. And yeah, I absolutely love this. Highly recommend, and I will be keeping this. Now see, this is the issue. I don't think I want to kind of get rid of any of these if we're being honest. I will say there are 3 other foundations that are quite old. These are quite old. Maybe I should go ahead and chuck them. Unfortunately, I'm a little under the weather, so I can't really smell them, but let's just go ahead and chuck them. I don't want to really get any more breakouts because of my foundations being old. But this is a really good foundation. Once again, this is the Makeup Forever HD Skin, and this is in the shade 4N68. Absolutely flawless foundation. This is another kind of medium to buildable foundation. I absolutely loved it. It was just one of those things where I picked up a lot of foundations at the time, and because I don't wear makeup every day, it takes me a while to get through my foundations, and so this one just kind of continued to sit and sit and sit, but it is a really, really nice foundation. I think I am gonna, unfortunately, let's keep with the routine of on and off. Another one that I actually really enjoy is this Huda Beauty Easy Blur Foundation. I have this shade in the shade Peanut Butter Cup. This is a beautiful foundation. It says it gives a natural airbrush finish. I would say out of all the foundations that I plan to keep, this gives the most kind of matte finish. This is absolutely flawless though. I mean, crazy flawless. When I was watching some videos back that I filmed, and I saw how beautiful my skin looked, I immediately went to my description box to see what foundation I was wearing, and I was wearing this and another one. So I really like this one, and I cannot wait to kind of have some more fun with some of these foundations that I'm keeping. Another one I'm going to go ahead and get rid of is this By Mario foundation. Even though this is the perfect shade, which is the 24N, I do believe that this had me breaking out. The formula was just a little iffy. It was something that I was able to make work, but I think this was just a little bit too satiny, kind of skin-like for my skin type, and I found that I just really didn't get the longest wear, and with my schedule being one of those that I have very long days at this point, I really need longer wearing foundations than I could deal with even a couple of months ago. So I am going to go ahead and get rid of this one. Keeping it going, we have this LYS foundation stick, and this is in the shade DN3. This is once again a newer foundation to my collection, and I actually before today was thinking that this was going to be a declutter. I had absolutely awful time with this product, but it's wearing beautifully today, so I'm gonna go ahead and keep it. Hopefully I can continue to get such a great wear out of it, and if for whatever reason it starts acting up, I will go ahead and just chuck it. Because I'm going to go ahead and keep that one, I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation in the exact same shade DN3. And this once again is purely just because it's old and I've had it for quite some time. I absolutely loved this foundation. It gave a great finish. I would say this liquid foundation has a lot more coverage than the stick. So if you're somebody who doesn't need as much coverage as this one, which I definitely felt this was a high, medium to full coverage foundation, then maybe don't reach for this one. Maybe get that one, which I find has a straight up medium coverage. So yeah, this is good, but it's just old, and I'm really just trying to keep all of these older things out of my collection so I don't have as much breakouts as I've been having. So we have 2 products left. I have 2 different shades in this Tura foundation, and really it's just because I got the wrong shade originally. So originally I got 45 in thinking that was my shade, but I'm pretty sure 30 43 in is my shade. I recently picked this up and I just have not had the time to actually apply it to make sure that it's my shade, but I'm fairly confident that it is, and apparently I can't open the packaging, so we're just going to take my word for it right now. So I'm going to declutter the one shade that's not the perfect shade for me, and I'm gonna go ahead and keep this one. I've really been enjoying this foundation. It has really good coverage for a cushion foundation. Perfect, well, I don't know about perfect match, but perfect finish. It definitely has that satin type finish, and it has that longevity that I wish to have. So really enjoying this. I can't wait to do my wear test for you guys. And then last but certainly not least is the One Size Turn Up the Base foundation. Now this is going to be really surprising that I'm going to actually be keeping this. This once again is a slightly matter finish than I think many people would think that I would enjoy, but there's just something to this foundation that I enjoy, at least for right now. And so yeah, I'm going to be keeping this. This is in the shade 25 in, and yeah, I think that's it for all of these foundations. Let's count up my totals to see how well or maybe not so well I did. Alrighty, so I'm keeping 9 foundations and I am decluttering 8. That's still a lot of product, but I'm hopeful that in this next year I can really just focus on what I have and just enjoy what I have. Even though sometimes I get extremely curious, that's what happened towards the end of this year. I'm hopeful that I can kind of knuckle down and really focus on these particular products. Alrighty, so once again, I forgot literally one product, and this is the Fenty Beauty Eavesdrop in the shade 20. And this was a skin tint that I heard a lot of people raving about. And my one thing that I need to really learn is to hear why people rave for a product. Once again, I understand why people enjoy this product. This definitely gives you that longevity if you have combination oily or just oily skin, but this is just a little too dry for me. I'd rather use the other products that I've kept. So this is actually going to be an additional declutter. But yeah, fantastic shade match. And really, if you don't mind a more matte finish, I would say look into this. It really is seamless. It doesn't feel like there's any weight on my skin at all, but I just don't like how mattifying this is on my skin. Going into all of my concealers, this is very much going to be the same kind of situation where we do every other, keep and declutter. Starting off once again with the Project Pan, we have my Dior Backstage 5N. This is quite old, that's why this was in the project. And although I absolutely love this, and although this will be still kind of technically in my collection until January 1st, 2025, this is going to be a declutter. It is quite old. It's got to go. Another one that we're going to say I'm going to keep is this Tower 28 concealer in the shade PV. I really like this. This has the right amount of coverage for me, which is about medium. It has that like skin-like finish, and it's a really good shade. So I'm going to go ahead and definitely keep this. One that is actually a terrible shade for me is this e.l.f. concealer in the shade Deep Cinnamon. So not only is this quite red, or not quite red, not only is this quite orange, this is also way too much coverage for me. I'm just not a huge fan of really heavy concealers, and this just felt extremely heavy. Understandably, this is really affordable, and yes, I could get my use out of this, but as we've seen, even when I say I can get my use out of something, I don't. So we're just gonna go ahead and get that gone. One that I actually really do enjoy, this is getting older, so I really do need to kind of get my use and let it go. Or should I not? Okay, we're gonna come back to that. One that I know is newer and I actually do enjoy it. It's teetering on that heaviness for me, and it's teetering on the kind of the coverage level that I appreciate. Honestly, I don't know if I'm going to keep any of these. That's actually really crazy. That's actually very crazy. Unfortunately, this is going to be a little bit of an oddball. We're going to just keep going with what I know I don't want. So this Rim Beauty concealer, it's quite old, and it's a good concealer. This is in the shade Deep 8 in. I recently just figured out how the perfect way for me to use this, and of course that's at the end of this being in my collection. I knew that it was going to be decluttered this year, but it's just got to go. I want to make sure that this is also not going to contribute to my continued acne prone skin. Another older concealer is this LYS Triple Fix. This is something that I've had for 2 years, and so I know it's got to go. This is DN3. Really good concealer. This was actually a favorite concealer of mine. It says full coverage, but it never felt like full coverage. It kind of felt and looked to me more like a medium coverage foundation or concealer. I really liked it. It was a little bit more mattifying than I prefer, but that's okay. The Juvia's Place concealer is just too much for me. This is in the shade 11. There's a whole lot of product for a very affordable price, which I know a lot of people love, but this is just too heavy, too thick, too cakey. It's just not for me. Keeping it going, this Sigma Beauty one, this is one that I know how to get use out of, but if I had to choose this or my Tower 28, I would go for the Tower 28. I'm not a huge fan of digging my hand in this or having to get a whole brush just to pick this up. So I think I'm actually going to go ahead and get rid of this as well. This is the Sigma Dark to Deep Concealer Duo, in case you were interested. Pat McGrath, once again, this is an older concealer for me, so I'm going to go ahead and trash this as well. This is MD26. Really good concealer. Actually, I did enjoy it. This is a higher coverage for me, but it didn't feel it, and it felt like overall my whole face was just flawless after I used my Pat McGrath kind of routine, which I did enjoy. But once again, if you don't use it prior to it going bad, it seems like a bit of a waste. Another one that I've had for quite some time, and actually is currently in a project pan, but it's just gotta go, is this NYX Bear With Me concealer. I absolutely hate the application method that is necessary for this, which is why I almost never used it. It's gotta go. There is that. Another one that has just got to go, unfortunately, is this House Labs concealer. This is in the shade 40 Medium Deep. I just did not like this compared to the foundation. This was just a lot thicker. It felt like it was heavy under my eyes, and it was just not a preferred for me. I really just prefer that Tower 28. And between these two, I know that the Kulfi is newer. I know my Sephora Best Skin is quite old, so I think I'm going to go ahead and get rid of the Sephora Best Skin. This is in the shade 50 in. It's really a good foundation or concealer. If I could keep this, because it was not so old, I would, but it's quite old, so this has got to go. As for the Kulfi, I think I'm going to keep it just to have options. I mean, I've literally gotten rid of all of my other concealers at this point. This is a little bit thick for me, but I think it's a comfortable thickness. It's not nearly as bad as these other ones. And like I said, I think it would just kind of be nice to have another option. If we get to this time in 2025 and I still don't reach for that Kulfi, then it will have to go, obviously. But yeah, I did really good in this round. I'm getting rid of 10 and I'm keeping 2 concealers. That's really, really good. This is extremely manageable. I'm excited to see me actually get through some concealers in 2025. Alrighty, so next, as you can see, is powder. I should actually have a powder from LYS. Where is that? Give me 1 second. So these are my 6 powders that I have in my collection. Like I said, I am combination oily, but I do like to have some skin-like appearance to my face after powdering. And I found that to do that, the less powder, the better. So we're going to keep going with, you know, keep and declutter, keep and declutter. So first one that I know I'm going to keep is my Project Pan Baby. And this is my Pat McGrath powder in the shade yellow. I absolutely love this powder. I've gotten significant use out of it since it's been in my project. Prior to it, it was pretty much brand new and it had a complete dome. Now I've definitely gotten my use out of it, and I just want to continue to get my use out of this one. So this is definitely a keep. One that I think I'm finally ready to get rid of is my Dior Backstage powder in the shade 7N. This is just not a powder that I ever reach for. I find that for me, skin tone powders are just not something that I enjoy. I don't find putting them under my under eyes really works. And because of that, I find that the use of two different powders on the skin is just unnecessary, highly maintenance for me. And so this is going to be a declutter. That's quite old as well, so that has to be thrown away. Another keep for me is the Seam Perfect Pore powder. This is a favorite. Why can I not get it open? This is a favorite of mine. As you can see, I've hit pan and I'm just continuing to expand this pan every year. I absolutely love this powder. I understand that because it looks white, you would think it doesn't work on my skin tone, but it does. It looks so beautiful. I've done so many videos with this product. I highly recommend it. This is one of my favorite products that I purchased from YesStyle, and I do plan to do a video about products from YesStyle that work for dark skin. In case you are interested, that's already on the itinerary to do for this year's Swagmas. So we have two keep. Let's go with a get rid of, and this is going to be this Juvia's Place powder. This is in the shade Zaria. I just felt like this was just a little too thick when I was applying it. Once again, I think there's just too much coverage here. So yeah, just not for me, barely used. So hopefully a friend can get some use out of it. I actually picked that up earlier this year. So hopefully somebody can use it. And if not, that is a-okay. Then we have two powders left. So I have this LYS powder, which is in the shade Translucent. And I also have my Tower 28 powder in the shade Banana, basically. And if we're being honest, I think both of these powders are okay. I don't think there's either one powder that I would really reach for over the other. This one has a slightly, of course, yellower undertone, whereas this is slightly whiter just because of the actual tints to them. So, I mean, to me, do I need either of them? No. Do they work? Yes. I think what I'm going to do is actually go ahead and keep. Which one do I want to keep? I never compared them to each other. So let me just see how they compare on my hand. Okay, that's where I was leaning. I think I'm going to go ahead and keep the LYS, and I'm going to go ahead and declutter the Tower 28. I definitely think that this is a good powder, do not get me wrong, but I just don't think that it's necessary. And I'm really, like I said, trying to streamline my collection. Even though I tend to over purchase, I'm going to work on keeping that consistent throughout 2025. I was doing really well at the beginning of 2024, and then it kind of went by the wayside at the end, but I've tangented on. These are the three that I'm keeping, and these are the three that I'm getting rid of. I'm okay with a 50-50 split for this category. And like I said, I have pan on both of these, so I'm hopeful that by the end of 2025, one of these powders will be done, and also all of the powders that I have in my collection will have some pan. All right, so because of all of my kind of comparing and deep diving into specific brands, I've really expanded my brow collection, and this is just not normal for me. So it is time to really weed out what is necessary and what is not. I do have some Project Pan items here. One is an easy go-to is my ABH Brow Wiz. I have this in the shade Ebony. I usually do dark brown, but I think at the time of me purchasing this, that shade was no longer like it was out of stock, and I really just wanted to get some brow pencils for the price that I could get them for. So this is an easy keep. It's not my preferred shade, but I definitely can get some use out of it. One that I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of is this McQueen, come on now, is this McQueen Tint Brow. This is actually a decent product, but I am not a huge fan of the applicator. This has the 3 prongs. Not a huge fan. I also don't find myself using these types of products anymore. I definitely went through a phase where I did, but at the end of the day, the time that it takes for me to do all of those steps, I'm just not somebody who's going to do that long term. So easy get rid of. Another thing that I can go ahead and keep, it's not a love, but it's an okay, is the Juvia's Place Brow Pencil in dark brown. This is a decent product. I don't hate it by any means, but it's not a favorite. And so for me, it's just the fact that it's in this small kind of packaging and the product's decent. That's why I'm going to go ahead and keep it. Otherwise, I probably would have gotten rid of it. One that I'm going to go ahead and get rid of is this Benefit Gimme Brow. I really thought I liked this, and don't get me wrong, I did. But as soon as I sharpened it, it became this dull end that I just can't really work with. So this has just got to go. It's just not for me. Then I have pretty much, I have mainly just like gels and stuff left. One gel that I am currently doing my project pan on is this NYX the brow gel, and this is quite an old product. I am very hopeful, but by the end of this project that this will no longer be in my collection. But even if I still have product left, I am going to go ahead and get rid of it. I've gotten my use out of it, and I'm honestly just tired of looking at it, so it's got to go. One that I will keep as a brow gel will be this e.l.f. laminating brow. I actually really enjoy it, and I find that this is a decent dupe for the Too Faced product. It's not perfect because the product is actually white, and so you do have to make sure you don't apply too much to your brows, or you may look crazy until it dries. But otherwise, it's a decent product. I don't hate it. One product that I'm just not a huge fan of is this baby right here. This is from Half Caked. I said I was going to keep it, but honestly, life is too short. If somebody else I know loves this type of point, I'd rather give this to them. A lot of my friends have similar hair colors, so it should work for them. And this is in 5.0. It's just too thick of a pencil for me. It's time for it to go. A brow gel that I will actually keep is this LYS brow gel. This is in clear again. It's not terrible, but it's not great. So I will go ahead and keep this. I do really enjoy it. A declutter product is going to be this one right here. I kind of knew immediately when I bought it that I was going to declutter it. I'm not a huge fan of colored brow gels, but I did it for the video pretty much. And this is in the shade dark brown. So this has got to go. I really just don't like colored brow gels. I find that because I am very sloppy when applying my brow gels, this just always gets on my skin, and I absolutely hate that. Alrighty, so we got 2 products left, so we're going to do one more keep and one more get rid of. I will go ahead and keep this NYX Brow Tint Pen. Once again, this is in the shade Espresso. The likelihood that I'm going to use this is very low, but it doesn't take up a lot of space, so I will go ahead and keep it. And the next declutter is going to be once again from Half Caked, and this is their brow gel in 1.0. It's their clear. It's fine, but it really doesn't leave a hold, whereas the other 2 brow gels that I kept leave a hold. So I'm really keeping myself with a more curated collection. I may have some more backups of the ABH brow pencil, but I don't think so. Either way though, I have 2 brow pencils, 2 brow gels, and then 1 pen. I really think that's a nice collection. So I am keeping 5 different brow products, and I'm getting rid of 6 different brow products. So really happy with those numbers. Once again, getting rid of more than I'm keeping. Really good numbers here. Alrighty, keeping it going, I have mascaras, I have my 1 freckle pen, and then of course my eyeshadow primers. I almost never remember to talk about these, and some of these have just been sitting around for no reason at this point. So it's really time to just narrow these products down. The one mascara that I've been reaching for most consistently lately is this Charlotte Tilbury Exaggerize mascara. I actually really do enjoy this, so I'm going to be going ahead to keep this. It's a really nice product. I do find that this gives me not only volume but also length, which I do appreciate. Unfortunately, another declutter from Half Caked is going to be this baby. This is the Night Show mascara. This is in black. It's supposed to be volumizing. I don't find that I saw too much volume, so for me it's got to go. Another keep, I'm going to go ahead and keep this LYS Lash Confidence. I don't know how long ago this, well, actually, I've had this since February. This has got to go. This actually has to declutter. So I'm just going to preemptively declutter this, and then we will kind of keep two of these products. So first we'll start with this About Face eyeshadow primer. This has been my eyeshadow primer of choice since I found it and started using it. I absolutely love it. I will definitely be keeping this. And oh, actually we're in 2 and 2. So now it's time for another declutter. For that, I'm going to go ahead and declutter this. This is the Glam Light eyeshadow primer. I can't distinctly remember if I purchased this or if this was given to me for free, but as you can see, it's pretty much brand new. I don't need it. I have a favorite, and I don't prefer these kind of primers that are like this product and it has the color like this. So I'm going to go ahead and declutter that. Hopefully a friend can get some use out of it. I do also actually like this Caladios eyeshadow primer. I probably won't use it until I'm done with the About Face, but I will keep this around just to use it in the future. The next one I'm going to go ahead and declutter is this Natasha Denona eyeshadow base. I found towards the end of using this that it was very much unpredictable, and I did not like that. I think I got a lot of use out of this, and I'm really happy about that. But at the end of the day, if it's not predictable, I just can't keep it. One that I really do enjoy is this Sigma eyeshadow base. I don't love the color, but it's okay. This is in the shade Earthen. I will probably continue to use this, very similar to how I use my shadow sticks, because that's basically what this is. It's a really nice product. And yeah, I will keep this. And then last, for this freckle pen, I have not used freckles in years, literally. And I mean, this isn't causing any real like storage issues for me, so for that reason I'll go ahead and keep it. Maybe artistically I want to do some freckles every now and then that way that can save me from spending any money. So for this kind of miscellaneous category, I am keeping 5 products and I am decluttering / throwing away 4 products. For this last category, this is the setting sprays. I should have talked about every other product, hopefully the way I wanted to. As for setting sprays, right now in my project pan, I actually have 2. I like to use these 2 conjunction together, and so together they, I feel, give me the perfect base after I've applied my powder. This is the Monica Dar Oil Control Mattifying Mist. I do not have much of this mist left. I was very hopeful that I would have finished this prior to even doing this declutter, but as you can see, I have not. I do enjoy it, so I will go ahead and keep this until it is done. Likewise with this LYS Natural Finish Setting Spray, I really do enjoy it. I love the collaboration between these 2 first setting sprays that I've talked about, and so I will go ahead and continue to keep this one as well. One that I just don't need, I was just keeping just because I did not have very many setting sprays and I thought I was going to be done with these 2 in 2024. This is the 24K Snail Hydrating Serum Mist. I think this is technically supposed to be like a skincare mist. I really don't use those types of products, so this is going to be a declutter for a friend. As far as these 2 setting sprays, honestly, I think they're both fine. This is the Juvia's Place Ready Set Sealed Setting Spray. I actually really do like this one. And I also really do enjoy this one as well, which is the e.l.f. Power Grip Dewy Setting Spray. So I'm actually going to be okay with keeping more that I'm getting rid of in this category, because overall I'm hopeful that once again in 2025 I will finish 2 of them, and then I could potentially work on these separately together, whatever actually happens. So now I've gone through all of the categories, I'm just going to go ahead and round up all of the items that I'm decluttering and just count out how many I'm decluttering for this video, and then I will be right back. Alrighty, so I am decluttering 23 items, and although it might not seem like a lot, I feel like this is really going to be a breath of fresh air. I'll be able to see all of my items and really hopefully enjoy all of these items in this upcoming year. As I said before, for any of these items that are literally in this basket that I have not done a review, hopefully a review will be coming soon. If not, hopefully this gives you the review on the item as I feel currently. I will continue to, of course, film these declutters throughout this month and have them available. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye, guys.